Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening. And let's have conversations about what truth is. Welcome back. I'm going to start the show with a little bit of something different because I've talked a little bit about the people in Colorado that are running for governor, and I've got 9 days left until I make a decision on whether or not I will enter the race as governor of Colorado. And I got a phone call from someone that says, Joe, put on a suit. And I was like, no, I'll put on a suit when I go out and talk to people inside of Colorado. I'm not putting on a suit right now. Don't wear a hat on your podcast. No, I'm going to wear a hat on my podcast. I'm going to be comfortable when I talk to you about things that I want to talk to you about. This conversation is about Tina Peters. I was told to go watch an interview that Victor Marx did on 630 KOA. And it's Ryan Schuling live. I think he was on 630 KOA. And so I went and watched it because I wanted to hear the substance of hearing Victor Marx. I've seen all the videos. I watched his videos, came across my platform of him speaking in different places. And, you know, there are things that he says that I believe that is a position of strength. But I have to scratch below the surface, and I have to start examining the other things that he says related to what it is that we need in the state of Colorado. I'm very sensitive about one issue in particular, and her name is Tina Peters. I know pretty much everything about Tina Peters' case. I know pretty much everything about the election fraud in Colorado. I think I could recite much of the manual for Dominion voting systems. I've looked through it. I've learned about stuff that's like watching paint dry, as in Eric Coomer's doctorate dissertation. And without a doubt, I think I've read the Tina Peters trial transcript, at least in part. I would say in most parts. I've read most of it at least a half a dozen times. Now, I'm looking for things that were said on the Tina side. I'm looking for witnesses that contradicted their statements because, frankly, I want those people tried for perjury, because that's a real thing. And so I know a lot about it. Now, I do know that you have Heidi Ganahl that's a part of Victor Marx's campaign, and you have all of these people who are they are consultants. But Victor was asked a simple question about Tina Peters, and I want to play for you what he said. And this is the problem that I have with politicians who tell me they're not a politician. I'm pretty upset over this. So much so I sent something to one of his campaign managers and said, yeah, I will never get behind this. Let's play it.
The poorly run state of Colorado with a governor who's incompetent, and frankly with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from Venezuela, took over sections of Colorado, and he was afraid to do anything. But he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating. And when she walked over and got involved in it, they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She caught people cheating on the election, 2020. along with a lot of other people that cheated on that election. You'll see that coming out more and more.
President Trump on Tina Peters, the Mesa County clerk who is currently serving time for her participation in Dominion voting systems and opening up those machines for people that did not have authorization. She was prosecuted. She was convicted. Donald Trump issues a federal pardon, but that does not hold any weight over a state charge that Tina Peters faces. So he took on Governor Polis right there. And joining us now, a candidate to replace Jared Polis, Republican Victor Marks. Victor, your comments on what you heard from the president there.
Well, you always kind of know where Donald Trump stands.
That's true.
He's not shy on his passion. I appreciate him caring for an elderly woman who I do believe the sentencing has been horrific. I'm only in this 2.5 months. I'm not the subject matter expert. I wasn't in part of the trial, but I do know this by speaking to people from Mesa County who were involved and impacted. She was tried by, jury of her peers. Mm-hmm. They found her guilty. That I don't take issue with because I wasn't part of any of that. What I do take issue with is the sentencing. Yeah. I mean, 9 years. Look, my daughter was recently assaulted, broad daylight in Briargate. She came to me yesterday, getting off the phone with the district attorney in tears. She said, Dad, it's 3 felony counts against him and a misdemeanor because my daughter stepping up caused other women to come forward, young girls who had been attacked by this. I mean, his record is horrible. He's a registered sex offender. He's a professional predator. And the most he's going to get now, they're saying is like 3 years, but then time served. Maybe he'll be out in 9 months. My daughter's in tears. So why would this guy get such a minimum sentencing? And then Tina Peters, a nonviolent offender, first-time elderly woman, get 9 years. So my commitment to this is day one of Governor, I'll commute her sentence.
Right.
I'll not pardon it because that means she never committed a crime. I'm not going to go against that, but I'll commute. She should be set free. She deserves to be set free. This is ridiculous. I think Polis and the Democrats weaponized her case, this system, to make an example out of her. There's no justice in 9 years.
Sorry, I was actually texting with the campaign manager for Victor Marks just now. So that was Victor Marks talking to Ryan. He was filling in on 630 KOA. I listened to the whole thing, and there are convenient truths. There are things that you leave out. Now, I haven't made a decision yet on whether or not I'm going to run for governor. I mean, the big thing for me is, can someone actually say the right thing? Can someone say the right thing? Can someone do the right thing? Can someone make a decision to do the right thing? And when I mean do the right thing, let me just tell you what his campaign manager said. I'll tell you in real time. Hey man, just seeing this. So Victor was in Mesa County and spoke with the county commissioners there. I can't recall his name, but I can get it for you if that helps. Leadership in Mesa County that spoke with are like incredibly against her being pardoned. From what I can tell, they seem to be almost in favor of the length of her sentence. Victor hasn't read her court case. He hasn't had time, but the time in Mesa County has everything to do with why he feels commute is the right word to describe what he should do as a governor rather than pardon. And the person that he talked to in the county commissioners, Cody Davis. Cody Fairweather Davis, the guy that frankly is just a wolf in sheep's clothing, a piece of garbage, a well-known piece of garbage. And if you're going to run for office, here's what I'm going to tell you. Democrat or Republican, I don't care. I actually don't care who wins. If we're being honest, I don't care if a Democrat wins as long as he understands that the tree is Colorado and about 40% of the tree is rotted, and it's rotting more and more of the foundation of our state, which then leads down to the parts and the pieces of parts. I call them hold-ons within hold-ons, systems within systems, estates within the federalized group of our nation. They rotted out California. They rotted out Washington. They rotted out Oregon. They rotted out D.C. They rotted out New York. They rotted out New Jersey. You can start to see that they're on the edges, just pushing in, trying to take everything they can. It is a game of battleground. And when you make a determination that I'm not, that she was tried from a jury of their peers, and you work against the better interest of every known truth, not narrative, not the Cody Davises of the world, but truth. When you work beyond that, when you work against that, you will never get my respect. You will never get my support. And you won't get the support of the people of Colorado. When you say the words, I am not a politician, and then you utter other words that is a direct lie, and then you tell me, well, we haven't read her case, then why would you ever say that I would commute it rather than pardon her? And why would you ever talk against President Trump? This is the problem that we have with politics on both sides. Let's call it what it is. It's cowardice. It's the fact that you think you're going to win by catering to what I call the purple. And it's to no surprise knowing the people that are working on that campaign with him. But when I went out to meet with Victor Marx, I had hopes that it would be different. I met with Scott Bottoms. I said, hey, look, I'll give Victor Marx a chance to come on the show. And the response I got back was, send me all the questions you want to ask, what the time is, and the same stonewalling that Victor Marx has done in a governor forum in Colorado. Now, on this particular deal, he said some things. Look, I'm not going to get into the mud. I'm not getting into the mud of other things that are being said. I have had a conversation with Darcy. I have read all of the other stuff, but I'm not getting in the mud. I don't want to get in the mud. If I'm going to get in the mud, I'm going to do it based on the one thing that I know to be absolutely true, and that is that our elections in this country at every level, from the city all the way up to the state, all the way up to the federal government, they are fraudulent, every bit of them. There is not one part of it is good or, we can fix the machines. You can't fix the machines. You can't fix them. And Kyle Clark, that little piece of trash who runs around doing this saying, we're not going to pardon them. We're not going to pardon them. It's safe and secure and safest elections in U.S. history. And it's all a lie. These are professional liars. They go into the media and somebody calls them up on the phone and says, hey, I need you to do me a solid. I need you to talk about Joe every day. I hope you continue to talk about me. But here's the reality of where we are right now. We cannot have, if we can't have honest conversations, we can have no ability to save our state or the nation for that fact. And the fact that most people voted for President Trump, we actually don't know how many votes they stole in 2024 because we have no transparency. You have no ability to see the bottom of the barrel. They hide it. And they tell us, hey, look, the government gets to tell you who actually runs your elections. You have nothing to do with it. Just sit down, shut up, and walk through this kabuki theater. And we take it. We take it on the chin every day. We take it over and over and over again. And we get told, I know what's best. Politicians run for office, can't even articulate what is actually punishing the people in every state. They can't articulate it. They can't articulate anything that's happening in schools because they're afraid to talk about the problem. They sniff the edges. And look, I went on to every platform. I had a conversation with Chaz Everson. And let me tell you something about Chaz. This guy is running as an independent up in Grand Junction. Nice guy. 20 years that he spent as a Marine. 20 years serving, warrant officer. He's committed. You know what he's committed to do? He's committed to do something other than what they've done for the last 50 to 60 years. He wants to have honest conversations with people that are running for office and say, listen, why can't we solve the problem? And why is it bureaucrats get to tell us what goes in our state? Why is it the people just get victimized by high taxes and a lack of ability to even understand why the rules are the way they are? And it only favors the lobbyists and special interests. He had some good points. But this is what everybody says. Let me just tell you what everybody says. I'm going to lower taxes. Do you know what that means for the 40% of our state in Colorado? You know what that means? Nothing. You want to know why? Man, they don't even, they're too poor to pay attention. They don't have the education because that was a drought, and they don't have opportunity because, man, nobody was coming to talk to them at a young age to let them know that there was opportunities in the future. They just said, get out on the field and we'll play some basketball and I'll go see your daddy's in prison. That's the reality. And by the way, it's not just black or brown, it's white too. But they keep telling us it's the white people that are all bad, bad, bad. It's all white people, white people, white people. They tell black people it's white people, white people. It is white liberals. It is white leaders like Polis and Weiser and Jenna Griswold, who happen to be a part of the satanic synagogue of Satan tribe. But maybe that's just, you know what? Maybe that's just a coincidence. Maybe it's a coincidence. I am disgusted by the responses that Victor Marks gave. And the bigger part of it is that saying stuff like, well, I'm winning. I'm winning in all the polls, and yeah, I'm going to win this. You're not going to win. I got 9 days, man. These candidates have 9 days to convince me not to get in the race. And by the way, if I get in the race, I'm going to win. I'm going to be very clear. Victor Marks isn't going to win. Nobody's going to win. I'm going to win. And you want to know why I'm going to win? Because I'm not going to talk the way all these other clowns talk. And actually, I'm going to tell you this. Scott Bottoms is not a clown. He is an amazing man. Greg Lopez, great man. Kirkmeyer, absolutely not. Again, fair weather, milk toast, I'm not interested. And I don't think those people that finance elections are interested either. They want to make sure that you don't move their cheese. But I don't think that they look at this and go, these are business people. The billionaires in Colorado, they're business people. They have to make a decision. They have to make a decision on what horse they get behind. And they've been disappointed for the last, 20 years since I started this Rocky Mountain heist to begin with. And most of them are sitting there saying, I'm just not going to back anyone. You want to know why? Because you can't win. You can't win. You don't even have the ability to look at what is wrong with Colorado and fix it. You walk around and you say stupid stuff like, we're going to create jobs in Colorado. Like how? Be specific. On the left, they're too busy talking about the Green New Deal and how to get rid of stuff, and we're going to save you because the planet needs to be saved. How about the people need to be saved? How about the children need to not be groomed? How about mental health and going to school and not having to feel like somebody's going to shoot you when you walk in the door? But we can't solve that problem either because we're not willing to put people in positions of trust and authority at that school so that if someone comes in that's diabolical, you just put them down like a dog. Nobody wants to talk about strength through consequences. Now, you can't talk about that either. Now, they want to talk about putting camp counselors on the street, talking to criminals and negotiating with them and saying, just don't do that again, as they put them back on the street over and over and over again. And then when they do go to prison, they want to treat them like animals and expect when they get out that somewhere along the line they're going to do it different. I've spent a lot of time thinking about why Colorado is broken, and most of it has to do with selfishness over selflessness. And one of the things that Chaz said that I thought was super interesting, it was interesting in a way that I thought maybe we should discuss it, and that is we are run as a mob rule. What we do in Colorado to change laws and affect the lives of so many people is antithetical to the Constitution of the United States, because the things they do enslave the people of Colorado and turn them into subjects, not free people. Can't start a business because if you actually fire someone for doing something wrong, the state's going to step in and say, why did you fire that person, even though it's an at-will state? You have a judiciary that's completely rotted to the core that can do things like they just said they're going to charge me $1,000 a day through a rent of judge that the judge on the case for Eric Coomer, even though Eric Coomer is really close to going to prison. Like, I know that that's getting ready to happen. I know that guy is going to go to jail. And yet the court system just works against the better interests of the people. And yet we have to tolerate it because it's been captured by people that have been put into positions of power like Polis that are illegitimate, that were elected through a system that literally has been fraudulent for the last 25 years. 20 years at least. We can see it, we know it, we can smell it, we're pissed off. The Democrats and the Republicans both on both sides and the independents that are leaving both parties in droves because both parties are just intellectually dishonest. They're not honest about anything. But with bots that you have in walled gardens and tech companies, you have the ability to stand stuff up and make believe and do whatever you want that, yeah, we're the majority. You're not the majority. These crazy radical people on the Democrat side, they have captured a nation by insurrection. and they've done so by building a cartel. It's a RICO violation at least, if not criminal conspiracy to actually be a cartel and steal the very essence, the sovereignty of everyone in Colorado and around the nation. But Victor Marks, man, you got to trust him because he says so. I'm really pissed. I'm pissed that you don't do your homework, but you get on a radio show and you talk with conviction. That I'm not going to say that Tina Peters didn't commit a crime because she was tried by a jury of her peers. And you walk past the very simple thing, the very simple fact that Tina Peters was not tried by a jury of her peers because they weren't allowed to see her affirmative defenses. Over 40 motions were all denied. And in her capacity, let me educate you, Victor, because you don't want to educate yourself. You want to sit here and tell me how great you are. Man, I tell you what, I'm out. I'm hitting the little button. You know, when you're sitting on a panel and somebody comes to you and says, invest in me. Yeah, so I just hit the I'm out button. And for these reasons, I'm out. You cannot do your homework. I'm out. You go after a woman and you call her. Let me just tell you what the words they use to call her. These are the words that he used. And I'm beyond pissed at this part. Caring for an elderly woman. No. Tina Peters is not an elderly woman. She is a hero. She literally is the epitome of what it looks like to be selfless in your sacrifice and to stand up for what's right. She is the Nelson Mandela of Colorado. And frankly, the entire nation. When President Trump gets up there and then you mock in small words what President Trump says, well, you never have to worry about what President Trump thinks. No, but you should probably do your research and understand that the truckloads of information we have on the elections that were stolen is the foundation of why every person in this country feels like they are enslaved to both sides. So no, I'm not okay, and I'm out. You will never get me to a place where I'm back in because you were institutionally and you were academically dishonest. I don't care about the rest. I'm really angry. We have two guests today. Excuse me. We have one guest today, and the guest we have today is he's running for office. So I'm gonna kind of go through this with you with just a little bit and let you know. But I mean, look, I shouldn't have watched it just before I came on the show. I had plenty of things that I wanted to talk about, none of which had to do with that. But not that I didn't want to talk about Tina, because I do. But the idea that someone could stand and say that somewhere along the line that Tina is anything other than an honorable person, a hero, someone that has done the work, the hard work that most of these people would never do. What does it take exactly? What does it take? What does it take to actually do the homework and read the reports and not take advice from other people? I want to know. I don't have the thing for today, by the way. Am I missing something? I must be missing something. There's my Google Doc. Let's try it one more time. I'll listen to your comments here in a minute. Right now, I guess we moved to a different one. All right. Am I wrong? Does anybody here think I'm wrong? My phone is blowing up with people that are talking to me. Hey, Joe, whoa, I thought Victor Marks was our guy. Yeah. Somebody says my mic is off. Hold on a second here. Let me go over here. Is my mic off? It says my mic is off. Somebody's saying my mic is off.
No, Joe, you're good.
They said there's a problem with my mic. Is there some problem with my mic? Jared said there's something wrong with my mic. Yeah, it sounds weird. I agree with Jared. My mic sounds weird. There's something wrong with my mic. Can I turn this down a little bit? Test. You were loud and clear. Okay, perfect. Mic is fine here. Got it. Not in rumble. Got it. All right. Am I wrong? You guys think I'm wrong? Anybody think I'm wrong? Let's look at the comments here. Let me go through them real quick. I'll pull it up, Pilled. Say hi to you guys over there. Yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit weird. Make sure you can, there we go. Sorry, I'm trying to do everything from my computer here. You have an echo. That's all. Okay. Can you guys get rid of the echo? There is an echo. Like I'm literally listening to it and there's an echo. It sounds weird. So there's an echo somewhere. Something on your side is broken. So try to fix it while we're sitting here going through it. All right. I want to start by saying this. We're going to. I apologize for messing up the rundown on things that we're going to talk about, but slowly but surely these candidates are going to eliminate themselves if they keep not standing firm in what the people want. And by people, I mean 71% of the country believes that the elections are absolutely fraudulent. That's Democrat, Republicans. That's kind of a mixed bag. And no matter what, and by the way, if you ask them if people believe in the media, there was a report that was done, or a thing that was done against 1,000 Republicans, 1,000 Democrats, 1,000 independents. Of the 1,000 independents, 60% of them lean left. Out of those 3,000, 87% said the mainstream media is extremely unbelievable. In other words, they're not credible. 87%. Not 87% if you combine two areas, but 87% of those 3,000 people collectively. Now, if you ask the conservatives that question, it was 96%. When asked if Fox was included in that number, 74% said yes. So who do you believe? And the other part is we have people telling us, by the way, that somewhere along the line that X is where you get your news. You're getting your news from people, and a lot of people just want to be important. So they talk about stuff that's not true. They've never went and read anything. They don't do any of the research that's necessary, any of the hard work that's necessary to come to a conclusion. Why would you do that? That seems silly. But if 87% do not believe that the media is trustworthy, where do we get our information? I'm going to tell you where we get our information. We get our information by making sure that we understand academically what people say is true, which means we have to scratch just below the surface. We can't just scratch just below the surface. We have to get further down. We have to dig into the details of things and what people say. All right. Let's talk about the other things we're going to talk about today. There is no justice in our system at all. The FBI is a complete joke. Complete joke. Dan Bongino, I don't know how to be disappointed in Dan Bongino for on so many levels, because he played into it. But here's the thing I know about Dan Bongino. He'll play into it, and he'll do the thing where he connects with Julie Kelly and these other people because he's told to, because he's part of the club, right? But sooner or later, I went back and watched a couple of Dan Bongino shows. I went back a couple of years, and I had to watch the one where he had Kyle Seraphin on, even though he took it down in certain areas. And I was like, okay, well, this guy's legitimate because he's speaking articulately about what he knows. He can solve the problem very quickly. If you get into Dan's head and you can see how his mind is spinning, and he'll go through and he'll read something and he'll ask the right question, and the questions are never centered on an agenda. He's just fact fighting. So I'm surprised that he lasted as long as he did in the FBI, and I'm even more surprised that he has maintained his alignment with certain people that frankly he should never have an alignment with. I don't know how you connect with and work for a man that is so irrevocably broken that it's hard. I don't know how he could work with Kardashian Patel, who went on some little unknown podcast with a woman that basically it was a puff piece on Kardashian Patel. with his girlfriend. And the questions that were asked, by the way, will help Kyle Seraphin on his case against the lawfare case that was put forth on defamation, because somewhere along the line, the entire internet and half of the freaking country believes that she's a honeypot. You could say what you want. Honeypot, not honeypot. Mossad, not Mossad. I don't care. Here's what I do know. Half the country can actually sing the national anthem on tune. Half the country. That doesn't make you a country sensation. Matter of fact, nothing that you've done of any notice, Alexis, is sensational. It's mediocre at best. And if you trace back all the stuff that you've done, look, you could say whatever you want about me. I'm the one that stood up and I did what was right, regardless of the consequences. And I went from having a lot to having to give up a lot and being sued and ridiculed and slandered and I know what it really looks like to be defamed. You don't have a clue what it looks like. You're sleeping with the FBI director. Good on you. But when you make claims of a person that you are and you're not going to get any sympathy from me or any of the rest of the country, because it doesn't take much talent to read or to sing the national anthem. I can sing it on tune. Maybe I should on the show. And then we have to talk about Tina Peters, which we talked about yesterday. I'm going to talk about Tina Peters every day and the stolen elections. But after we're done talking about that, we have this clip that I wanted to talk about with Rocky Mountain Voice. And Kyle Clark, oh man, I don't even know where to start with this. We're going to start at the top. And then we're going to have, just so you're wondering, we have Casey that's going to be on, and Casey is going to run for office in Ohio. He's going to run for governor. I think he should. I think he could win. And so I'm really excited about that, because here's a guy that's super strong. Now, is he going to be supported by the power structure? Or it doesn't matter. It depends on how much they can put their claws into. They might. Let's first do this. Put this post up. Let's open it up with this. Laura Logan. She put up a post. And it says, this is Svetlana Lakova. Senator Grassley has consistently released documents, and for that I am grateful. But what's the point of all the information if we don't have the prosecutors to bring the criminals to account? Can the Senate GOP approve some prosecutors? And Laura Logan says, no point. In other words, there is no point. To which I said this. This is our problem. The institutional rot that we have is our problem. There is no justice to be done for the American people. And then to that, I put up this. We have 4 Republicans buck Mike Johnson to join Hakeem Jeffries' Obamacare push. This is to extend for another 3 years. 3 years, the Obamacare subsidies. And again, I want you to know where most of the subsidies go and most of the money that you put towards healthcare. A whopping 80% or so goes towards administrators. Just imagine that 20% goes to doctors, 80% goes to administrators. If you got rid of the administrators and you just paid the doctors, what more could we get done? But I digress. What I said is traitors, because that's what they are. Betrayal of the American people on display every single day. They steal elections and put Manchurian candidates in positions of power. We are dealing with an insurrection. The people do not make decisions on what is good for them. The clowns do for what is good for them. Oh, and the pharma and healthcare and walled tech gardens, and the outrage should turn to action. I mean, but you know what? I could be wrong. The rot is so deep. It's so deep. And I talked a little bit about Dan before, and I said this. I never understood how Dan stomached the bullshit. This also means Kardashian Patel will be fired and Pam Bondi et al. Is on thin, collapsing ice. And I don't want to play the whole show from Alex Jones, but Alex Jones puts up breaking exclusive: Dan Bongino's staff has quit, his office is empty, and he's set to officially resign within the next 48 hours. Top FBI whistleblowers Tal Serafin breaks down the latest development and makes major news predictions on the future of the FBI, DOJ, and Trump. This is the one on Kash Patel. Can we put that one up? And let me and there's a video on that from Katie Miller. Do you have that video?
Yes.
Okay, let's play that video.
We are so excited to be joined by Kash and his beautiful girlfriend, Alexis. So I just want to clarify, you're not Jewish.
I'm not.
You are not from Israel.
No.
So how did we get to, are you a Mossad agent?
You know, that's a great question.
Where's her ring? Just to clarify, how often has he traveled to see you since January 20th? Has there been one moment where you're like, you can't make this up?
Okay, you ready for this? Now, if I were going to go on a show, and if I was going to go on a show and say, and ask those questions, would you go on a show of Katie Miller? So, by the way, I love Stephen Miller, and I don't actually care Jewish, non-Jewish. What I care about is, are you a good person or not a good person? But if you were going on to say, well, you're not a Jew, and you ask that question, and then how'd you become a Mossad agent? Probably a pretty good idea to find someone that's not Jewish, that is not Israeli. Oh, I can't do it. And what do you think they're going to say? No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. I'm not Mossad. I'm not Mossad. I'm not Mossad. I was this day, many days old before I found out that Greg, working with True the Vote, was a government informant. Did you guys know that? Does everybody on here know that Greg with True the Vote and Catherine is a paid informant, federal informant? You probably didn't know that. So this is what Flau Hustler had to say, and I had to put something out underneath it. Are you kidding me? You have a lawsuit against the guy for talking about Israel and her, but they're going to a show to discuss the very same issue. I'm living in the Twilight Zone or something. And so what I said was this. Kardashian Patel is a joke. And then I'm not a Jewish girl. Yeah, no one cares if you're Jewish. We don't. And that is the point. You're, in fact, a sock puppet. 70% of the country can hold a tune. So singing the national anthem is not a noteworthy accomplishment, but you're not a country music sensation. A made-up title by a made-up, pinky swear, I'm legit woman. The sheer amount of ridiculous is astonishing. We can't get anything accomplished. This is like doubling down on weighing 500 pounds and saying that you're just big bone, not fat. And here's what I'm saying when I say that, guys, is that can't we just be honest about anything? Is there anything we can be honest about? Anything at all? I mean, is there literally anything? I mean, is there something? Can we not go out there and say that as President Trump is, laying the groundwork to release the Epstein files, that all of a sudden now President Trump is the Epstein file guy because he took a picture with him? I mean, that's the ridiculousness of it. It doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't pass the sniff test. And why would you be doing some sort of campaign to make yourself look better? Nobody gives a shit. You had the Brown University shooter that's out there, and you're out there doing podcasts and talking about how great you are. I mean, it's not even real. It's not even real. I have a business to run. I run business, and then I get on the podcast at 2:00. I'm always late. Am I always late? I'm always late. I mean, they'll tell you I'm always late. I'm always late. You guys know I'm always late. And why am I late? It's not because I'm sitting around not doing anything. It's because I'm doing a bunch of things all at the same time. And I'm not an influencer all day. That's not what I do all day. What I do is I manage hundreds of people. That's what I do. And make sure that people that are our clients, the people that I do business with, they do well. Kardashian Patel has an entire freaking FBI. And instead of actually setting standards and doing the right thing by the American people, I wouldn't have time. If I ran the FBI, I would have zero time. I'd be cracking that whip every which way but Sunday. I would make sure the American people got resolved, that they actually got things fixed. I would be making sure that we had prosecutions in every area. I would be looking into the election machines. I would be confiscating the code. I'd be flying to other places and having conversations about how we fix our election system. I would not be sniffing asses and talking about ridiculous. Because if you think it's ridiculous, you wouldn't be talking about it. If you weren't a part of the Mossad or whatever, I don't even care what it is, deep state, call whatever you want. Clown car? I don't care. If you're not a part of the clown car, why do you keep talking about the clown car? Why are you telling everybody, look over there? Well, innocent people are getting shot to death. I just don't get it. And this is not that hard. Let me say this too. Trent just said this. Do you know where you can find the Tina Peters court case records? I'll read them and tell you my assessment, but I can't find them. Original transcripts don't seem to be online. Well, they are, right? They are. I'll get them for you, Trent. Don't worry. I'll get them for you. But you made a huge mistake, because I don't go back on people that go back on the people that are actually serving time in prison and say that somewhere along the line they're guilty. When you call someone that is not guilty, and you can't do the hard work, I'm out. I'm out. Whew. I want to show you this deal. This is a 3-minute video. Maybe, Trent, you can watch this. Maybe you can get, Mr. I'm too busy and headed to Florida to go to a debate for the governors. Maybe you can have him watch this 3-minute video, Rocky Mountain Voice, who, by the way, didn't get it right 100%, but got enough of it right that I can give them enough space to say, at least this adequately describes how rotted our judiciary is. Play it.
Last week, no story matched the reach or impact of the Tina Peters case. And based on the questions and discussion we've seen in response to our coverage, we wanted to take a moment to clear up some confusion and explain what's really happening and where the case really stands, all in one place. So what started as a local prosecution in Mesa County has now become a national election integrity and civil rights story, and here's why. Tina Peters is the former elected clerk of Mesa County. In 2021, she authorized the preservation of election system records ahead of a scheduled software update. Peters has consistently maintained that she did so to comply with federal law, which requires election records tied to federal elections to be preserved for 22 months. At trial, Peters was convicted under state law and sentenced to 9 years in prison. But while many headlines say she was convicted by a jury of her peers, what's often left out is a critical detail. The jury was not allowed to hear her central legal defense, that the actions she took were lawful and potentially required under federal election law. That unresolved clash between state prosecution and federal authority is the foundation of this case. And here's what changed last week. Colorado released a heavily redacted letter from the U.S. Bureau of Prisons requesting that Peters be transferred into federal custody. An unredacted version shows federal officials raised concerns about her confinement and conditions and confirmed she has no federal charges. Nearly all of that explanation was removed before the letter was made public. On the same day, a federal judge declined to intervene while acknowledging that the case raises serious constitutional questions. Peters was then placed in isolation confinement. That move came as the Department of Justice announced a civil rights investigation into Colorado's prison system, including Tina Peters' prison. Days later, President Trump issued a formal signed presidential pardon, not a symbolic statement, not a social media post, a full grant of clemency. And Peters' legal team arrived at the prison expecting her release, but Colorado refused. The state's position is that the presidential pardons only apply to federal crimes, but Peters' attorneys argue that when officials administer federal elections, they act under federal authority, a principle the U.S. Supreme Court has recognized for more than a century. And if Peters was punished for complying with federal law, that raises a constitutional question no court has answered yet. And that's why this matters beyond one case. This isn't just about Tina Peters. It's about whether states can punish election officials for following federal law, block federal review, and sidestep unresolved constitutional questions. So what happens next? Peters' appeal continues. Higher courts may weigh in, possibly even the U.S. Supreme Court, but until then, this case isn't over, and we'll continue explaining it clearly and honestly because you, Colorado, deserve to understand what's happening in your own state. We will keep you posted. Head to RockyMountainVoice.com for multiple articles on this topic and to find more information. We'll see you next time.
All right. Does that adequately describe it? I think it does. And I think if you look at the basis behind what is being said, Yeah, she has Pelosi eyebrows. I agree with you. Darn, I thought Joe was always late from sleeping in. I look that bad? Well, I'll try that. Come on, you're killing me. I didn't think I looked that bad. Maybe I do. All right. So, sorry, somebody asked me to share this. What's up? I'm good. It's good on this side. I think if anything, it's not bad. It's good on that side. Sorry, we were checking the audio on my side on here. Okay. Sorry. It's like having somebody stand over your shoulder. I didn't really know what to say at that point. And then if that wasn't enough to have Victor Marks do that, I want to talk about what Kyle Clark is talking about. Guys, can you do me a favor? Can you bring something up for me real quick? I want to Untamed Nation. It's going to take a little bit of a left turn here. Show prep is this one. So that's Untamed. And then I just want to put this out there so that you understand that there's definitely next with Kyle Clark. Here we go. So Kyle Clark has a nationally syndicated deal, right? He's on this thing called Next with Kyle Clark. He's a superhero. Just ask him, right? We use a tool called Listen Notes in order to figure out who's got what popularity, how many people are listening, downloading on podcasts. And I don't say this because, I mean, if you know anything about me, you know that my idea of being involved in podcasts, I just want to do business. Like I just want to, and one of the reasons why I'm considering running for governor is I get to do business all day long. Like, I mean, if I'm the governor of the state of Colorado, I can fix stuff and I can hire all the people that need opportunities and make sure we fix education. I'll be fixing, I mean, it'll be a fun job for 8 years. I'd get it the second time too. So I become the governor of Colorado. I get in there. The people that are the most vulnerable among us, we're doing great things. We're making sure single moms, we're giving people other alternatives rather than abortion. I'm not going to get rid of abortion in Colorado. You can't, right? I'm not going to just, do I believe in life starts at conception? Yes, I do. 100%. Right. But I also know I've got to get everybody there. So until then, well, why don't we just have other alternatives and say, listen, over here, we have the ability for you to keep your baby and not genocide an entire generation, right? So this is Untamed Nation. You want to look at Untamed Nation? Let's put up Untamed Nation real quick. Untamed Nation on Listen Notes, we have a 59 score, and we're in the top 0.1% of podcasts globally, 0.1%. Now, if you want to compare that to others, go to Listen Notes and put in like Russell Brand, put in other people that we listen to, Laura Loomer, Laura Logan. You can start seeing how wide of a net we put out there, and we have to continue to just run reruns because all the platforms are doing everything they can to hold us down. Now, let's put up Kyle Clark. He's a 28, and he's in the top 10%. He's a 28. He's got a nationally syndicated deal. Nobody wants to listen to him. By the way, a 28 is not good. That means nobody listens to you for long. But beyond that, Kyle Clark has a lot to say. And he wanted to go after me and Peter Tickton, and he wanted to go after everyone. They are squealing. The radical left is squealing. Go ahead and play it.
Some of Peter's fellow election conspiracy theorists, even her attorney himself, have talked of using force or violence to free Peters or punish the people keeping her in prison.
I think violence is probably the only solution at this point.
Are you saying that you believe the president should call out the 101st Airborne? They should go to her prison in Colorado and say, hey, boys, the pros from Dover are here. Back off. We're taking Tina Peters, and we're going to take her today.
Do I think that it should be done? For who I am, yeah, I'd love to see that happen.
I think all these people should be tried for treason and hung. I think Governor Polis should be hung. Why are we just not getting to the fact where we have military tribunals and 50,000 people that would get rounded up and we can just have a hanging party?
Today, Peter soundly rejected the idea of a jailbreak or any violent force against La Vista Prison. And the same day, our Marshal Zellinger went to ask Governor Polis about the safety of corrections workers and other inmates there. And he asked the governor whether he's ever going to bend under the threats and pressure to free President Trump's ally in false claims about election rigging.
What have you done to ensure that the state employees and the inmates at La Vista Correctional Facility are safe?
Well, first of all, I condemn all violence or any threats of violence that anybody's engaged with in regard to this.
Democratic Governor Jared Polis spoke with 9 News for the first time since President Trump signed a pardon for Tina Peters, a pardon that does not erase the state charges that keep her serving her nearly 9-year prison sentence. Have you done anything specifically to that prison hearing threats of force or violence?
So our Department of Public Safety monitors online threats. Our prisons are secure by their very nature. It's not easy to break in or break out at our prisons.
Has your administration ever negotiated with the Trump administration to trade Tina Peters for something you want?
Well, these are requests that would come from us. We do have 11 inmates in federal detention because we've requested it. And usually the reason is they're a danger in the facility.
While a legitimate request to transfer an inmate from state to federal custody would come from the state, that was not my question. Have you negotiated with the Trump administration for anything regarding Tina Peters, or have you been a no, she is never leaving state prison from the start?
Well, I've seen all the stuff they've put out, of course, but I understand that there's people that are fans of hers. And
still no, yes or no? Speaking of fans of Peters, we requested emails sent to Polis about Peters in prison. Out of 286 pages of emails, a little more than half call for Polis to keep Peters in custody. Some want her released and are threatening, like the email that alludes to the FBI taking out Polis. Could be a deer that runs out in front of your kid while they're driving, or a blowout. Either way, it will look natural. And then there's the one from a prison in Fort Worth, supposedly from the Tiger King himself. Swap Tina Peters' freedom for mine, Joe Exotic. Polis did name a scenario where Peters could get out if she's dying.
If she is very sick or she has cancer or anything like that, we would look at letting her out on mercy, as we would do that for any inmate. As far as I know, she's perfectly healthy and doing fine. She did have cancer in the past. There's many other inmates who have too.
Okay, so let me put it in perspective for you. Nobody called for violence other than the violence has been committed by people like Jared Polis. Jared Polis is a violent man by nature. And if you want to go back to when he actually ran a business and what he did to violently attack a woman inside of his company, he did that. He did that. Nobody else did that but him. And this is what diabolical people do. They'll smile on a camera while doing great harm. The reason why he said he's not having a conversation with President Trump is that he doesn't want to have that conversation on live air. There are so many things that we find ourselves in this place where they make up these things. Like, this person said this stuff and it'll look natural, and you run out in front of your kid. No, some wacko wrote that email. But here's what they've created in the minds of you. And here's the split. Somehow talking about accountability is now violence. And somehow the violence that they have and they allow to be perpetrated against Americans, people on the streets of Colorado, that's not violence, right? That just happens. It just happens. And that doesn't promote behavior to create more violence against people in Colorado, which then makes them victims. And then letting people out on the street after they've raped or murdered or assaulted someone in Colorado, that's not violence either. That's just the justice system doing what it's supposed to give somebody another chance. See, everything that Jared Polis has done on his side promotes evil and violence. Jared Polis is one of the most evil, diabolical shitbags I have ever met. And I have met him. The problem that we have in the state of Colorado is that we are not allowed to talk about truth. We have to sniff the edges. And every time we talk about truth, someone comes in and says, oh, you know what, today we're not going to let that happen. I want to talk about something else about Kyle Clark. Kyle Clark and the other little diabolical guy, the bald-headed guy, the little stick figure that was interviewing Jared Polis. Both of those people are part of a cartel inside of 9 News that were instrumental in the murder of a hat maker, Lee Keltner. Lee went to a Back the Blue rally in Denver, Colorado. Not only did the police not muzzle the people at the rally, didn't muzzle them at all. Matter of fact, they let crimes be committed against people that were there at the rally to Back the Blue. But as Lee Keltner was leaving, the 9 News newscaster and an unlicensed security guard that they hired followed Lee Keltner, egged him on, just kept egging him on. Went back and forth, banter. And then the security guard got in the face of Lee Keltner. And when he got in the face of Lee Keltner, he then just kept goading Lee Keltner. And when Lee told him to back off and he was in the process of retreating, Matt Doloff shot him in the face, killing him. And then the city and county of Denver, they let Matt Doloff go for that murder. And then we found out later that Kyle Clark and the gay stick figure, those two and their little cartel made up stories. Oh, we didn't know he was unlicensed. But they did. And they quietly settled with Lee Keltner's widow. You have news agencies that are used as it's like having a Soros group inside it. It's like an undercover nonprofit. And the reality of it is that Lee Keltner died because they murdered him because he wanted to back the blue. He wanted us to have law and order. We don't have law and order anymore. We have what can only be described as complete lawlessness. I want to put this up here because I think it's important. Tina, I had a conversation with her a couple of days ago, and I told her, I said, don't you worry, we are coming. You are going to get out. We had a whistleblower that showed us pictures of the AC units above the prison. Now, Tina's been coughing like crazy. She has her own pod right now. And so we asked Rock these questions. We put these pictures into the deal. Do we have the pictures? Can we show the pictures? Let's show the first picture. So this is someone inside the prison. These are the AC units above the deal. So they're basically corroded. If you have an air conditioner at your house, you know what these look like. If you own a business or a building, you know what these units are supposed to look like. Let's put up the next one, please. Next picture. You can see it. It's above the actual prison itself. This is inside of the employee area. Go ahead and put another one up. You can see that it's not in great shape. Now, so I wanted to ask Rock if it was true, and I don't know if it's true. I just wanted to ask Rock. Do these pictures show a well-maintained HVAC unit? Was one question. Could the attached pictures of the unit above lead to poor air quality within the building it is servicing? And could exposure to this unit lead to health problems for individuals? So we put that into Grok. And let me just read to you what it is. Do we have that stuff? We put it up there? Oh, yeah, you do. You have it up. No, these units do not show a well-maintained HVAC unit. The rooftop units, your photo exhibits clear signs of neglect and poor maintenance, extensive rust, peeling paint, and corrosion of the metal panels and cabinets, common in units exposed to weather without regular protective coating or inspections. Panels appear damaged, misaligned, and particularly detached in places, suggesting structural wear and unrepaired issues. Heavy discoloration and building of grime, dirt, indicating lack of routine cleaning. Well-maintained commercial rooftop units typically have clean, intact cabinets with minimal rust, even paint, and no visible damage. And it showed pictures of what a unit would look like, right? So this is what Grok gave back to us. This is what the units would look like if they were well-maintained on a building, right? These units likely need professional inspection, cleaning, and possible repairs or replacement to restore efficiency and prevent failure. Regular maintenance, meaning coil cleanings, filter changes, and rust prevention can extend lifespan significantly, often to 15 to 20 years. Yes, these pictures you showed absolutely can lead to poor air quality inside the building. Here's exactly why. Your unit is extremely dirty, rusty, and damaged panels. It creates three problems that push bad air straight into the building. And it goes through what you saw in the pictures: heavy rust and peeling, rust particles, and tiny flakes getting sucked into the air intake. And people breathe in the dust, rust dust. It causes coughing, Irritated eyes, throat, worse for anyone with asthma. The worst part is hidden inside the units. You cannot see the photos. The evaporator coil are most certainly filthy and wet. Dirty, wet coils is the perfect home for mold and bacteria. Every time the system runs, it pulls over these coils and blows mold spores and bacteria straight into the office, classrooms, hospital area, whatever building this is. That's interesting. They thought that's what it was. Quick action plan. Call your HVAC company and say we need emergency coil cleaning and mold treatments and panel repair on the rooftop units. So this is where I get into, go ahead, take it down. This is where I get into when we talk about, the poorest among us, right? The problems that we have, people that are unforgotten. And that's what the prison system basically creates. But the school to prison pipeline, some of the other things we deal with are a direct correlation to that. Yeah, so here's Michael Bennett. I want to talk about this. So the DOJ offered to transfer and house her at a federal level 1 security prison, and Colorado refused. Cruel and unusual punishment for this time of offender. This is one of the questions that came in. So Michael Bennett went to the Senate floor to talk about the Trump economy and how hard work used to pay off. And then as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to bring Casey in, who is running for governor of Ohio. I'm not sure that he actually knows that I have a 10-day plan of prayer and contemplation to run for governor of Colorado. So I think this is kind of maybe we'll do a little bit of I fly to Ohio, he flies to Colorado, and we have some discussion if I decide to run. So here's Bennett talking on the floor of the Senate.
This country relied, when I was growing up, on the idea that if you worked hard, you could get ahead. If you worked hard and your kids worked hard, they could live a better life than the life that you live. That was the American promise. That was the American promise. And today, for the first time in American history, half the people that are 30 years old are going to make less money than their parents. There's a lot of discussion these days about what the threats to our democracy are, or the fact that our democracy is threatened. I don't think there is a greater threat to our democracy than the lack of economic mobility we have, than the fact that too many families in Colorado and across the state, across this country, feel like their kids are not going to live a life as good as the life they live. In Colorado, there's not a county anymore where people feel like their lives are going to be better than, where their kids' lives are going to be better than theirs. And when you lose that sense of opportunity, when you lose that sense that if you work hard, you're going to get ahead, that's a danger to a democracy, because inevitably somebody shows up, as President Trump did, and says, I alone can fix it. You don't need a democracy. You don't need the rule of law. You don't need this exercise in self-government. I can fix it. You should expect your private sector and your public sector to be hopelessly corrupt, hopelessly bankrupt. And I think we'd be a lot better off trying to figure out how to create an economy that when it grows for everybody, not just the people at the very top. And an economy that when people worked hard, they felt like they knew they'd be able to propel their kids forward. There was an economy that reestablished the American dream for this entire country. We better do that. We better do that if we're going to have any hope of saving this democracy.
All right, so let me quickly just give you guys a little bit of a lesson. You can't actually do better than your parents when you tax the shit out of everyone and take all the meat off the bone. You can't do better than your parents when only a third of people are graduating proficient in anything. You can't do better than your parents when you promote grooming and mental health problems start to creep up because you have people inside the education system that made that large launch or that march through educational institutions. They made the march, and they told them, hey, you know what? I know you don't feel good in your body. That's because you might be a girl. Time to put on a dress and cut your penis off. You can't do better that way. If you actually don't promote strength and you don't give people opportunity, and somewhere along the line you expect what? Shit to fall out of the sky? I think this is why Casey is running for governor. I know it's why I'm contemplating it. You can't fix the problems because you don't fix the problems. And you want to sit up there, Bennett, and talk about just weird, gibberish shit. You're worth $350 million. You think you can actually talk to the people at all? Do you think anything that you say carries any weight? You're talking on a Senate floor where the average person is worth $17 million. Yeah, no, pinky swear. You're making less than your parents. No, you're not. You won't even get rid of insider trading. You won't do things to promote and to help the people in the state of Colorado. You won't let free and fair elections come in. You let the media do whatever they want. You literally hold hostage the people you say you're there to protect. And then you say, sit down, shut up, slave. We got the answers. When you haven't been able to fix shit for the last 60 years, I'm sick and tired of the people that tell me that, oh, we got to do better. And then they give us some superfluous bullshit as if you even know what better looks like. You don't. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. The reason why people are working against the interest of President Trump is because it takes less off the bone for them. It's serve me, do not serve the people. Now, there are inconvenience. It's absurd. So with that said, Casey has been waiting patiently with all of his just absolutely tasty cars sitting behind him, including that 944 Porsche. Casey, welcome to the show, and congratulations on running for governor.
Well, thank you. Well, enough is enough. The pain of inaction outweighed the risk of action.
Yeah, so are you running as a Republican?
Heck yeah, I'm running as a Republican. I've always been one. It's just the party that's gone off the rails. I stayed on them.
It literally stayed on the rails with the cars on the rails.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I like trains too.
You know, the things that I talk about is when people talk about what used to be, you can't have the used to be's if you took away every opportunity for it to be.
100%. There's nothing about tomorrow that is objectively better than yesterday anymore. I don't mean that as hyperbolic. I genuinely mean that. That's why I couldn't take it anymore, because I just see the walls all closing in. And our lives right now in America and Ohio is no different than the scene from the first Star Wars where they fell down in the garbage compactor.
What do we, it feels like the Twilight Zone, Casey. Why is it that people can't see? I think they are seeing it, but why is it that we can't articulate this in such a way that people can get on board and stop sniffing the asses or sniffing the edges?
Well, a couple of reasons. We've had it too good for too long, which creates complacency, makes us comfortable. And that's a difficult. And, you know, I would say since the 90s, look how our horrible toxic food has made everybody, let's be honest, out of shape and unhealthy. Just makes us even more lethargic. The internet is making us addicted. The social media on our phone is making us addicted and foolish, and nobody stands up anymore. Everything that's happened in the last 30 years has been to just push anybody down from leading or doing anything better at all. And my goodness, if you look at the amount of influence that government agencies, three-letter agencies, CIA included, that has had over the American culture and populace since World War II is insane. So, you know, it darn near takes a miracle for somebody to see it and go, and lead. And I think now may be our last and only chance for that, because since COVID, everybody has just woken up so much to the BS going on. And I'm hoping that we've got a last run of it to get things back in order, that people still stand up and make things happen before AI comes in and clamps us down and ruins our life completely.
Let's, you know, we had some pretty interesting things that happened that were said over the last couple of days. One of which is that Elon said, you won't need to save money in the future because there won't be any poverty. Did you see that post?
Yeah, everybody will be poor. So it'll be relative. If you're all broke and unhappy, who's going to be poor? The people that are dead? Hell, we'll all be so broke and terrible, you'd probably be wishing for that, which is horrific.
But doesn't that go to the whole World Economic Forum, get rid of 95% of the population?
Of course it is. It's all globalist Trojan horse BS. You know, what's their plan? They need to get rid of us all so they can replace us with AI and freaking automaton robots and stuff so they can go explore the stars? Give me a break. Like, what? Okay, what? I'm on a tangent. I know I'm running for governor, so maybe people don't want a tangent.
Tangent me, bro. Come on now, tangent me.
In parentheses, full mag dump from the hip, okay? In parentheses, metaphorical is what I'm trying to say here. Yeah.
So you're saying Operation Overlord?
You know what? I'm not actually even familiar with what that is exactly.
The Battle of Normandy. We didn't play chess. We walked straight onto that beach and we beat the living shit out of our enemy.
That's exactly what has to happen. It's just that, you and I have spoken a lot, obviously, and let's be real. So the things we talk about, we're both Second Amendment guys, okay? Yeah. I mean, like, how fast can you draw something from where you're sitting, I'm just saying, like, come on. No? Yeah. Anyway,
I can draw quick.
Yeah, we're both Second Amendment guys. Why does the Second Amendment exist?
But to protect the First Amendment.
Yeah, and what is it in there for, and why would we have to protect the First Amendment? Who would we have to protect it from?
The government.
Yeah, so the Second Amendment exists for the protection of the people, the ultimate fail-safe from the government. And here's what's frightening. We're talking about that a lot nowadays, aren't we?
We are.
And to be fair, you as well. And I've even been like, how close can I get to the edge, about talking about it? But normal people are talking about it. Attorneys, people in general are saying, God, is this like America in the 1850s? And that's just not good. And I'm not okay with such a thing happening at this moment. And I say it because when I'm doing the nonprofit and trying to build it from nothing, I'm not happy. I'm not going to quit on anything until I've turned over every stone. You know what I mean? And from what I see, Vivek Ramaswamy is a globalist Trojan horse, period. Did you see the op-ed article he wrote in the New York Times that came out today, I think?
No, I did not.
It's leftist propaganda, so that basically if you don't support him, you are a right-wing nationalist, Nazi, groiper, sicko. It's all leftist propaganda.
Which is this? Which one was this?
Vivek wrote an op-ed article that he authored that was in the New York Times. Was it New York Times? Today. Check it out. So what I'm saying is, and I'm all feisty because I was coming around, but like, I'm not okay with things happening or giving up on things until you flip over every stone. So I see what's happening with Vivek, and it's absolutely wrong. No one is standing up to it. So, here I am standing up to it. And God only knows what'll happen. I might end up dead or framed or in jail or lawfare into oblivion because our entire government and legal system is corrupt. I don't know, but maybe there's a shot people will get together and that we can actually stop this onslaught of hell. I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy, globalist Trojan horse, tech bro, period. He's just here to help facilitate taking advantage of the entire state, the people, our resources, our water, our environment, everything, to the tune of hundreds of millions of billions of trillions of dollars to tech bros and stuff. That's it. That's what I see. And I'm sorry, Amy Acton, she seems nice enough, but give me a break. She was part of locking down Ohio during COVID. And this is a woman who was the health director of Ohio, and she resigned because she was afraid she'd get too much pressure to do something she didn't want to do, so she quit. And we're going to put her in charge of the Air National Guard, including a fleet of F-16s too? A woman who quit because she was pressured? Or a globalist Trojan horse? Are you kidding me? Like, this is the only way. Like, it was never on my life bingo card to be like, I'm running for governor, but no one else is doing it. And, look, if I see a shooting going on, a mass shooting, and no one's doing anything, and I'm behind the guy that's doing the shooting, I'm going to tackle the guy, and I might get shot doing it. But
no, I'm going to shoot him because I'm going to have a gun.
Well, if I'm not carrying,
Yeah, that's never happening. So let me just say, between 0 and never is when I'm usually.
Well, I beat you to the draw this time.
I'm in a fortress right now. I'm
fair.
Fully protected. Yeah. So
fair.
I will tell you that I'm not that far from a weapon in another room.
I got to tell you this just to be funny. I went through a metal detector into somebody invited me to like a golf match type thing, a metal detector. And the guy says to me, he's like, do you have any weapons on you? I'm just like, just these. Like, anyway.
And did you pull them out or you just pull up your shirt?
No, those metal detectors are such BS. It's such theater. It is. And it's really sad because people go through it like, this makes me feel safe. And I'm like, really? Because I could sneak anything through my shoes if I wanted to.
Well, what's really funny is that I went to this place called Casa Bonita.
Yes.
And in Colorado, it's like a thing. It's, by the way, food's still shit, and they drive off a little platform, and it's really bad. But I mean, it's.
Why'd you go there?
It's like riding the teacup deal in Disney World, like the teacups that go around, right? It's
Small world.
It's not that It's not that fun. And so, but I walked in, they have metal detectors, make it look like it's some sort of like grand thing. You go there and eat, like it's a restaurant, right? And so they have these metal detectors where you can't go in and eat. And they're like, yeah. And so I walk through.
Oh, you?
They go, you're not allowed to have, do you have any weapons on you? I was like, not that you're going to take off me. I came here to eat, right? And they're like, we're not allowed to have any guns in there. So I walked to the car, walked right back with my gun still on. And they said, yeah, take it to the car. So they told me that I could come back through the other part that's already past the metal detectors. So I was like, I'm going to see if these guys are actually that good, right? Turns out they weren't, right? I walked to the car, opened the door, shut the door, act like I had my keys. They could see me from there. My keys, okay, I got my keys, walked back. She opens a little deal, and I walk right in past the metal detectors.
Dude,
like, these people are retarded.
I know. I'll give you an example. Where were we? I don't know if it was the zoo, maybe something like that. So my wife and I went with the little one, and so I go through the metal detector, and nothing. My wife goes, and the baby stroller that we had, right? It's metal, it's aluminum. There's a lot of metal. It'll go off. So I walk through, it goes doo-doo, or whatever. It goes go around, and I'm like walking through, and it doesn't, and nothing beeps. And I walk through, and we're walking right by the guys. He's waving. I'm like, do you realize the amount of handguns and ordnance I can hide in this baby stroller? He's like, I can see it. No, you didn't. I'm like, okay.
What did he say at that point? He said, let me check that shit again.
No, he didn't. He just let it go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know,
and here's the other part. If I was a nefarious person, I can build a plastic gun.
Yeah, I know.
You would never know, right?
Yeah, I don't even.
High tension plastics with a bullet that, I mean, it does not actually tell you that you have gunpowder, right? And the primer's not big enough for it to go off. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make sense. Just let me carry my gun. If somebody goes off and pops off, does something wrong, I'm gonna hurt.
It's like military guys say, everything's fake and gay.
Everything's fake and gay. It's true. It's true.
So we're having a good time, and I'm just kind of shooting from the hip right now because I always do that on your show because you're good and fun. But maybe I should be wearing a suit and perhaps even doing this interview in my bare feet.
Did you
and that
watch
would make
my
me a
first
more.
part?
What's
Did
that?
you watch my first part where I was like,
I didn't
somebody
get to see
called
it.
me and said, if you're gonna run for Governor Joe, you need to put a suit on. You need to take that hat off. And I was like, no, I'm going to talk to you the way I'm going to talk to you, and I'll put a suit on when I go visit people. But
yeah,
no, I'm a regular guy. That's the whole point.
I can tell you one way I'm better than Vivek Ramaswamy.
I know 1,000 ways you're better.
Yeah, but this one's fun.
Okay, which one?
My hairline's good for an extra 10 knots top speed. My great uncle told me that he flew F-4 Phantoms in Vietnam, and I know F-4 Phantoms are closed cockpit aircraft, but you know, and that doesn't make sense. But I figure that's true. Yeah, so you know, I got less parasitic drag. Vivek can't beat me on top speed.
You know, I got to tell you, Vivek started out very articulate, said a lot of things, and I was like, okay, let's watch him. And then I started checking into his dealings with the big pharma and how he made money very quickly. It's almost like it was manufactured. And I look at what the CIA does, and I'm like, manufactured.
Dude. Well, and let's look at England, right? How many people that aren't English are basically infiltrating the government? And then look at what's happened to England. How is Vivek any different? How is he not a manufactured person to come in and destroy the Republican Party so he can write op-ed pieces and saying, hey, if you don't like Vivek, you're clearly racist? It's like, whoa, we don't like Vivek because he has no businesses in Ohio. He's done no philanthropy in Ohio. He's never done anything for anybody, despite being worth $2 billion. I have done like literally nothing. Anybody who's ever done anything for anybody else in your community has done more than Vivek. It's a joke. It's a joke. In no reality should a person like that be running for office. He clearly only cares about himself. It's horrific. So this is the stone I'm turning over. It might end everything for me, but you know what? If we don't do anything about it, we're all going to lose everything anyway. So.
Well, and this is where I get into, and Casey, one of the things when I got a phone call and said, hey, you're running for governor, I was like, get him on immediately. Because, you know, if I could give you any advice at all, just from what I've seen over the last 20 years, doing the things that I've done. And by the way, one of the reasons why I think I am so, I love what you do. I love the character that you stand for. is that the first thing you go to is, hey, how do I help these young kids? How do I help other people that are more disadvantaged? But one of the things that I learned, and the thing that I push towards the most, is I already know the people that will vote for me. I want to go talk to the people that won't. I want to go talk to the 40% that don't have anything. And I equate it to a tree. If I have a tree and the 40% of the tree, because 40% of our society in nearly every state is completely the have-nots. I mean, they have no have-nots. Like, they have nothing, right? And there's some real struggles with those 40 people. They get to eat the peanuts, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that always amazed me, if you have a tree and 40% of the tree is rotted, and if you run a business, like a car, let's say that 5 cylinders work, 1 doesn't. Are you going to concentrate on the 5 cylinders? Or are you going to fix the 1 cylinder? So it's antithetical not to treat the disease of the 40%, because sooner or later it will take out the tree, right?
Yes, I agree. Are you okay?
Hi. So I say that I'll go talk to hi. What are you doing?
Nah.
Hi.
You want to hear? Okay, now, puppy, you got to be good and can't disturb. Okay, you want to listen to? You keep talking.
Yeah,
Welcome to life, right?
I want to listen.
Here you go,
Put
silly.
one of these
Here.
in my ears.
You want
Hi.
to hear him? You hear him?
Do you want to talk? You can talk.
You want to talk, puppy?
I'd rather hear about you.
I like Elsa.
You watched Elsa?
Yeah.
You watched Elsa?
And Lily.
That's awesome. So which car is yours? Is that your motorcycle? You have a motorcycle or a car?
I'm a green car.
Yeah?
We're building a green go-kart together.
You're building a go-kart?
Hmm?
Wow.
She impressed her grandpa with her power tool skills, which is funny to say, isn't
it? That's awesome.
But you were kindly saying to speak to everyone else. Don't just be an echo chamber, I think.
I think you have to get away from the echo chamber, right? We have to look. I came from that. I came from the people that are invisible, right? I remember going to this hotel, and it was in DC, and I don't remember the circumstance behind it, but I had to go to the bathroom, and I walked inside, and the guy that was inside was the manager, and I was like, "Yeah, I need to use the bathroom," and he called me pond scum.
Pond scum?
Told me to get out.
Why is that?
I was just a poor kid in DC.
Oh,
right, and it was a nice hotel.
I don't know.
But I remember how it made me feel, and I was defiant. I went outside and I literally pissed on the building. Right? Sorry, I just said that in front of your.
No, it's okay. She has occasionally heard some colorful language.
Yeah. So I went back. I went back probably 12 years later.
Yes.
And I booked the hotel. And I walked in, and the guy that was running the hotel was the same one that called me pond scum. But now,
really?
Now I had arrived.
Wow.
Right? And I remember him so clearly. And I walked in, and my whole thing is that I had arrived.
Yes.
Because now I could stay at the hotel that called me pond scum, like F off, right?
Funny how that is.
But when I went in, I looked at him and I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "No, I don't remember you at all." And I was like, "I was the kid that you told."
Alice, this is not acceptable, sweet girl. He said he's talking to someone.
I was the kid that you called pond
So you went in, and the pond scum man was there.
And I said, do you remember me? He said, obviously he didn't, right? I mean, I was like 11 years old at the time or something. And I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "No." And I was like, "I was the kid that you called pond scum when I was a little kid." And I said, "Yeah, I can't stay here." And he looked at me and he apologized to me. But
did he?
To me, at least he apologized.
That's
right?
pretty correct. Alice, listen here. I'm sorry. I have a fidgety one. Will you be so kind as to fill the air, and I will happily come back in one moment.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Thank you, Joe. I'm coming right back. Forgive me.
That's all right. You know,
You're being silly.
The thing that I will say is that Casey is family first, which is awesome. And so the thing I said about the 40%. And I'll talk to him more about it when he gets back. But imagine, you can't relate. Like even on our best day or worst day, as we sit here, we can't relate to things like cockroaches crawling all over you or having to eat spam. I mean, I like spam, so I'm a bad example of that. All right, Casey, you're back. Just unmute yourself if you would. Bring you back in. All right.
Thank you.
That's all right. I'm totally great with it. Family first, bro. God, family. I'm like number 25 on the list. You got a lot of other stuff.
I appreciate it. She's 3. She's excited. She's learning,
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you. So the Pond Scum man apologized.
He did. And then I left. I couldn't stay there. You released my thing. I just wasn't going to stay there. And it was the idea that I could, but I didn't. I didn't. Right. So I could stay there. I had arrived. Right. I made my first million by the time I was 23.
Wow.
And, I remember walking, I thought I was the king of everything. Right. And then I didn't stay there. I mean, I did drink my own Kool-Aid until I was 32. So until I was 32, I didn't have Jesus, and I did, but not really. And so I was just a fly by the night, party like a rock star. Wasn't really that great, other than I was great to hang around, but wasn't great from the standpoint of doing what was right. So, so I look at that 40% as my tribe. Those are my tribe. That's the people that I feel should have a voice. They should have the bigger voice, because we've failed in every way to create an environment where opportunity can be found. If you're willing to work for it, you can have that opportunity. And so this is generational in a lot of aspects, because you treat people like animals, and what are they going to act like? They're going to act like animals. If you give them no opportunity, hunger can do a lot of things to a person, right? So you have food deserts and then you have anger that sets in because you got these radical, white people and black people that betrayed their entire family when they got there and didn't want to solve the problem and betrayed their community. And they deserve an opportunity. So how do we give them an opportunity? We let them speak first, right? We go to them first and say, okay, we're going to cut taxes. And how is that going to help you? X, Y, and Z. And we're going to put trade schools in, and we're going to make them put air conditioners. Matter of fact, let's just take over the bureaucracies and the buildings they have down there, and let's send your kids to school there and make these assholes have their courts and their administrative buildings in the schools that they've made you guys operate in for the last 50 years, in a place that's decrepit and falling down. Instead of saying it's the guys in the suburbs, let's treat the people in the inner city and the people most disadvantaged like they're people, and watch what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely in the mix now with all of this, but I'm looking forward to it. And something that struck me with regard to, obviously, in running for office, I would legitimately go on virtually any media outlet or podcast. And the reason I say that is basically everybody is represented by Ohio constituents. So if you can't hold your own and talk in a place, even if they're being horrific to you, right? If you can't hold your own and stand on your own beliefs and at least treat people with some dignity and respect, then I don't think you should be in office. So, the ones that just pick and choose where to go tactically, who knows? Maybe that's the worst political move there is, but I do think it's the right thing to do. I'll give you an example. There was a guy, a number of weeks back, reached out to me, wanted me to be on his podcast that he's building. And to be honest, I thought it was an automotive podcast. And I was like, gosh, I don't know if I really have time for this. I'm like, okay, I thought it'd be nice. And so I'm doing it. He asked me questions about the Omega car and Genius Garage, and they were perfectly nice questions and all. And at the end, he says, I don't know if I told you this, but he's part of ACP. And I'm like, ACP? What do you mean? 45 caliber, 380 ACP? What are you talking? And he goes, no, the American Communist Party. And I'm like, what? And I go, why didn't you say that? We could have talked about that. And we spoke about it. I go, hold on. You want to do another video, and me obviously not being a communist and you finding interest in that, let's have a discussion. So I did. and we'll see what it comes out. And I don't think that most people would ever have a reasonable, actual, constructive discussion with people that share completely dissimilar beliefs or values. But I do think that's the most important thing for all of us. And I told him, I said, one of the things that's so wrong about debates and the internet is everybody's looking for a victor. And that's stupid, because aren't we all on the same team, even if we don't agree? And if we're just trying to battle each other and only have a victor, how are we ever going to potentially see eye to eye or come together for any common goal or value? They say that a sign of intelligence is to be able to give consideration to a different or alien viewpoint or thought without necessarily adopting it. But now we're being pushed into only identity and tribal politics where, my goodness, if you say anything, then you're labeled something so somebody can else use it. It's just a disgusting war zone. I mean, we're deeply entrenched in fifth generational informational war right now, but I just see it otherwise. Obviously I'm conservative. Obviously I'm a Republican. Obviously I care hugely about the First and Second Amendment. I care hugely about the right to repair. I think government has way too much power, way too much oversight. I don't like bigger taxes. I don't like bigger regulation. I think some is important. I like law and order. I like our law enforcement people, but I'll talk to others that have other ideas. It doesn't mean that I'm not nice to people, but I also know where the line is. Right. Being nice to people and caring for others doesn't mean you just bend over backwards and let people walk all over you. That's silly. That's the opposite of society. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. I agree with you. I think it's very good that you brought up that point with regard to not just speaking with your own echo chamber. Of course, the echo chamber is kind of your base. So, for instance, like me, when you come out and say, hey, I'm going to run against Vivek Ramaswamy and try to save Ohio and be governor, you kind of need to come out with, the people that align directly there. But, dude, I've helped countless people and students that are clearly not Republicans, that are even from demographics that are most associated with not being Republicans. And I help them and work with them because they're people with a brain and a heart. Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what I care about.
This is the part where show me what a platform has done for anyone. Show me what the platform's done. You use the platform to create strength because it strengthens the foundation with monetary effects, the ability to connect with it, to have resources. Show me where the GOP has provided anyone that is a viable candidate with any of those resources. It's pushed down. It's almost like we push down the opportunity for churches to take care of people in their community and giving it to the government. Same thing can be said for what we're doing for elected leadership at every level. We walk past what we know to be concrete facts, and then we let people say things that are lies in hopes that it will ingratiate ourselves with one group of people that is using that chaos in order to create success. So, I mean, I'm disenfranchised with what the 60% haves have, because they're going to vote for you anyway, right? Just go talk to the have-nots, and you know what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen: the groundswell will happen. You will start to see a repair of trust because they get a seat at the table. You give somebody a seat at the table, it's a powerful thing. But you also set the ground rules. Like, listen, I'm going to give you a seat at the table. We're going to change some things, move some stuff around. It might not save you. It might not. It might only save your offspring. It might only save your children. You might be too far gone. I might not be able to create enough opportunity because you're 50 years old and you read at a 5th grade reading level. I don't know how much more I can do for you. I can give you more classes. I can put stuff in front of you, but here's the reality. You got 4 kids. Those kids are dumber than rocks because you've let the system actually brainwash them and take away opportunity to learn how to read. I'm going to give them opportunity. Does that fulfill your obligation to your children and to your future generation? 99.99% of the people out there, I don't care what level you're at, if you can give up and sacrifice yourself, or at least know that you're not getting something, but your children are, you'll give it up.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I just can't turn away. I just can't look away, All
right. So what's the plan? What's the plan? You have a career as an engineer, a racer, an educator. You built cool shit, Batmobiles,
I'm just a car guy that had dreams and wanted to find a way to achieve them. And when I saw things were broken, I wanted to fix them. And that's can mean a car, or it could simply mean the educational system or my community. I think there's a philosopher, I think it was Kant, K-A-N-T, where there's a line I had seen once. It said something like, if you have the power to do good where there is not, you're morally obligated to, which is kind of good. It kind of hits home, but in a sense, that's almost like you're being forced to. I just have a hard time looking around and seeing something that's glaringly wrong and not doing something about it. And yeah, I'm the guy that if I walk into a store and I'm walking by a rack with some clothes on it, one's crooked, I'll go eat and turn it back straight, even if it's not my job. That's just it, man. That's just it.
So this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of the things that are bothering the people of Ohio. Your state has gone through some stuff. You have a massive ecological disaster that struck Ohio.
East Pal, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, the train wreck, literally and metaphorically.
And we talk about it. And we're like, oh, it's terrible, and then all of a sudden it goes away. Nobody talks about it.
I know.
People died. Like it's killing people. It's like the World Trade Centers. A mass number of people who were there for that died of cancer and carcinogens that crept up, created a bunch of disease in their lives, right? So we know that that's coming.
I know. It was East Palestine, wasn't it? Yeah, the train wreck.
Yeah.
I hear Palestine so much nowadays, and when I went to say it for the Ohio town, it sounded strange. When I was a little kid, south of Tiffin, Ohio, I was trying to think, was that around Bucyrus? There was the Kirby tire dump that caught on fire. I'm thinking this is the late 80s or early 90s.
Yeah.
And for weeks, the black smoke you could see from, oh my God, could you see it from far away? I think it'd take a half hour more to drive there and you could still see it real easy. That was pretty horrific. But what happened with that train derailment, makes the other pale in comparison. And, bad things are going to happen. They're going to happen around the world. But the question is why? Is it negligence? Is it complacency of our leadership over generations and various different administrations? I think it's silly for us to just pin it on one political party or one person, even though that's what we like to try to do.
Right.
And, with what we're staring down the barrel of data centers, how's that any different? They've all been metaphorically snuck in under the cover of night, so to speak. Everybody's mad about them now because what is there, 100, 200 of them already, more being built because Ohio is super energy dense. We have the Ohio River Valley. We've got Lake Erie. We've got awesome aquifers. We have all the best fresh water in the world to be exploited, and they need it for cooling. They need power. We're going to subsidize the cost through massive electricity bills. Meanwhile, they have tax abatements for 10 or 15 years, which is probably more than the entirety of their useful life. Meanwhile, they're creating no product and no real value back into the community except a small amount of jobs. It's a joke. We're being completely sold out and leveraged. Lots of these things have come in with strategic, non-disclosure NDA forms through politics and meetings and everything else. So nobody knew it was coming until it was here at all. So who's to blame? What gutless politicians that thought it was going to be a prestige project? It's not a prestige project unless you're an imbecile. So that's what we're staring down the barrel of. And one thing that scares the hell out of me, even past wrecking the economy and us being taken advantage of and paying more electricity bills, I have some deep concerns that these are ways to tap into and usurp control over the aquifers, because I've been hearing talk about making rural water, forcing farmers to have to pay for their water and not use wells if you own the land. Like, no longer do you own any control of the aquifers under your water. I'm like, whoa, that's not really how that works. This is some sick, diabolical stuff happening from the data centers to fresh water in the same way I would say that big ending scene of the movie There Will Be Blood. Do you remember that movie? Did you see it?
I do.
Daniel Day-Lewis, yeah, for anybody who hadn't seen it. Daniel Day-Lewis played a wildly driven, early, like oil baron type guy. And there's this powerful end scene where he had doing a long straw. It's like, drink your milkshake from far away. My granddad, World War II vet, He paid attention to everything since World War II and warned me about a lot of stuff before he passed away. All of it's coming true. It's all scary, but one of them is fresh water. They're going to want to control it. And this is tying in like a big Daniel Day-Lewis, there will be blood milkshake. So I don't like it. I think it's going to have ecological disasters. And that's the other reason why I hate tribal politics, because, obviously I'm conservative and a Republican, but like there's people that the second I say environment, they lose their mind. I'm like, look, I'm not getting in the giant global warming train, but, I'm not about to start burning tires and like, it's like, I'm into conservation. Like anybody who's a fisherman, a sportsman, a hunter, is pretty switched on with the environment. What's going on? We want to see a beautiful, happy, healthy environment. But we're practical. We're not a bunch of kooky dukes, but that tribalism is not good. And I think that tribalism helped pave the way for bad things like this. Because, if somebody like me, it's a conservative, says, hey, I have deep-seated environmental concerns, they'll call me a leftist kook or something, and it's just stupid.
What do you fix first?
Well, I mean, when you get in, or the second you start running, or what do you mean?
When you get in, I mean, look, I said,
what do I fix first? My security, look for bugs.
Yeah. So I said before, look, if I run, I'll win. And everybody goes, Joe, you'll win. I was like, look, I don't know of another person, negative or positive. Prior to 2020, nobody said any bad things about me, and I could solve some really big problems. I had solved really big problems.
Yeah.
And so my struggle is that, do I want to get in the wallow in the mud? And I know that President Trump and others have the same problem, right? Because you can't help but get stuck with the stink. Like you fix one, it's like this: like 10 people are getting ready to die, and you got to pick one.
I think the first thing you fix of the horror show is belief in people. Belief in people that you actually care. Belief enough in you as an individual, as a leader that actually cares. And I don't even like the word leader in that sense. Just somebody that's tied in to be acting in the best interest of everybody. Just the belief that even if they don't always disagree with me, that they know that I at least care and I'm fighting for the betterment of everybody. And I think that is the most important thing. And finding fairness. Because right now, I tell you, I don't, but lots of people have no belief in our politicians, no belief in our system, no belief in our governmental systems, no belief in our law. So that has to start to change. The other thing too is, okay, I'm a mechanic. I'm in my garage. I've done a lot of YouTube videos with plenty of expletives. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I could, maybe I'll make a sailor blush, right? But there's a time and a place for everything. I didn't come out and say I'm going to run for governor because I think I'm some magic saint or this perfect politician. I came out and did it because what I saw happening is wrong objectively for everybody. And if we don't stand up and do something about it now, what's the future going to be? A disaster.
It is going to be a disaster. More importantly, I don't believe that the forest through the trees. I don't believe the people that are inside of positions of power and authority in our country. I think they're so busy under this guise of fear of loss, like don't move anything, don't touch anything, only add to it.
Very corporate mentality.
Yeah, and that corporate mentality is where people go to die, right? Yeah. That's where good ideas do not flourish. That is where this kind of evil is able to fester. And frankly, if President Trump doesn't get rid of machines and mail-in ballots, neither you nor I are going to win anything. And one of the things that if I decide to run for office, I'm going to do is I'm going to go meet with the billionaires and I'm going to be like, listen, I'm your best chance at winning, right? And if you don't fix this 40%, I talked to a guy that's a billionaire, and I go, if you don't fix this rot, this disease, it's a matter of time before it comes for you. And if it doesn't come for you in your lifetime, it's coming for your kids, right?
I've got a cheeky thing to say about that.
Go ahead.
You know how you can either vote for a capital putsch right now, or the public will give you a lowercase one later.
Yeah, and you don't want that. You want to explain to everybody what that means?
My last name means the same thing as coup d'etat. It means an attempt to overthrow the government. And it also meant that before the 1920s, for anybody that wants to get silly.
What are you going to lean into? And by the way, are you getting any support? Has anybody reached out to you and said, "Hey, I want to support you"? Or
oh my God,
are you getting the?
Oh, it's tremendous! It's tremendous. I don't want to Murphy's Law this, but the thing about it is the Republicans Party is going to have to do a lot of thinking right now. They're going to have to do a lot of thinking because Vivek's been out there so long and said everything and shot his wad. He's a pony, ain't got no more tricks. So, it's his game to lose. And my contrast is a problem for him to just slip right in under the cover of night like a data center. And I think if the Republicans play dirty against me, there's going to be a big Barbra Streisand effect. So
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Well, the Barbra Streisand effect is when you try to squelch something or push it down forcibly, it comes back in an order of magnitude bigger and badder against you.
Yeah, no, I think right now, I think for a fact that Vivek does not have, in my opinion, he is riding a train of fakeness.
Well, may I give you a few tangible examples?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to give you one, but you give me one. I'd rather have yours.
Okay. I said that he has no businesses in Ohio. He's never done any philanthropy in Ohio. He's built no schools in Ohio. He never went to school. Okay. Let me just give you some contrast between me and him. And, I curse too much. I'm a terrible person for that, right? I don't do drugs. I don't do nasty things. The worst thing I do is have a few speeding tickets. But, where I'm going with it is this, I'm third generation Ohio State alumni. My granddad didn't miss a home game for 50 years. Does that make you a good governor? No. But it makes you a person of the land, person of the state. Vivek didn't go to school here. He went to Harvard and Yale. Got a college scholarship from the Soros family. What does that make you appreciate? My dad worked from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night every damn day of the year that it was sunny out. We didn't get to go on vacations. So that's one. The other thing is Vivek in the last less than a year has increased his net worth $800 million or more. Increased his net worth $800 million or more in the last year. All he's done has been running for office. He's done jack squat for anybody. He's never done philanthropy. He's never created a school.
Yeah, but he's been here's the thing that nobody, and look, I don't think this is true. That one of the dangers that I bring to the table is that I accidentally tripped over going to places in the Middle East and Africa and seeing what the CIA creates.
Yeah.
Right. And that they create people in this country that they can control. They have their little secret handshake.
I've said he's manufactured already.
100%.
But where I'm going with this is, dude's made $1 billion in the last less than a year. What the heck has he ever done for anybody? I've been killing myself doing a nonprofit, building a school that picks up where the American educational system left off for the last 11 years. He's done nothing. He can go like this and not even feel it and make positive things happen, and never has, ever. If that's not enough alone to tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what is. But it's sick. It's sick. In fact, I don't want to get too feisty because I am passionate about it. It bothers me.
I want people to understand the fact that you can have
it. It makes me so angry. It's so there's a reason I've been crashing out of my channel before. How can anything not make you this angry? Like doing Genius Garage for the last 11 years? You think that was difficult? You're goddamn right it was. I'll get paid. Do you know how much behind I am with my wife and I? Like, ever the thought of being able to retire anything? It's a miracle we have a house. It's a miracle. The only reason we have a house is we got lucky and bought it 2 seconds before the housing market went up. And it was such a fixer-upper that it was leaking through the roof to the floor of the second floor to the ceiling and getting to the first floor. And I looked at it and said, I can fix this up myself. Meanwhile, old Vivek gets worth another $1 billion and has done jack squat for anybody in the last year, and he wants to run Ohio? Go f yourself. In fact, go f yourself so hard we never hear your name again anywhere in America. It's a joke. And so now he's writing op-eds in New York Times and trying to make it so if anybody goes up against him, you're just a racist, like white nationalist, Christian, Nazi, Groiper freak. No, we just have eyes, ears, and a brain and look at you and you think you're a piece of crap and we don't want you here. He's just objectively terrible.
I don't even know. And by the way, it's not and people will go, oh, you're just jealous. You wish you could make $800 million. Actually, no, I wish $800 million went towards the people that I've been working on helping for the last 20 years, right? So
tell me about it. If I had $800 million, I'd keep enough so I could live and do that. And then I just work full-time building schools and doing something that matters. The only thing money's any good for is just making it so that you hypothetically have more time and maybe you don't have to feel bad if you go out to eat. It's like, oh, crap, I kind of like to get steak, but this is expensive. I'm going to get the pasta. You think Vivek has to do that? Hell no. How many people don't get to go out to eat? How many times, I'm telling you what, how many lunches I've skipped because I'm just like, I don't want to spend the money. That's a car guy thing. It's like, I'll put the money in the tires, but I won't eat as much. That's why I'm skinny. I work. People are like, do you work out? No, I actually work. There's a difference. But no, Vivek's worth an absurd amount of money. He's never done anything for anybody. He's never gonna do anything for anybody, and it's sick. This shows that the United States has become a plutocracy and a kleptocracy because everybody that's big just makes money from stealing it from somewhere else, whether it's legal or not.
Well, that just leads me down the same path when you start thinking about the outcome. When I go through the outcome of this election 2026, I'm going to tell you something that you need to know, and I hope it's a part of your platform. Ohio elections are just as fraudulent as they are in Colorado or California. They just hide them more, and so they get to pick and choose who the winners and the losers are. Our society is manufactured, right? And this is the part that dulls my senses. I sit with my family, and I'm like, and my wife will go, "What's wrong?" And I'll look around the room and I was like, some of my family just doesn't know. They just don't know. They don't know how bad it is or how bad it can become. And
you've heard of Plato's allegory of the cave, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. That's the other thing between you and I is that we read a lot because we're a little bit of bookworm, geeky retards. Although I can't fix a car. I mean, I can, but you wouldn't want to drive in it.
It's tough to be in the position to be in a podcast such as this right now, and for me to just say you've heard of Plato's allegory of the cave, right? And you say yes, and we don't have to say anything else.
Yeah. The scary part of that is that now people are Googling that. It's going to be one of the things that people Google by masses and then understand what we're talking about and you understand the implications of that. And
that's a good thing.
I don't want to explain it because I want them to find it. I want them to understand that we're in a place right now where I truly believe this. God is testing us. He is testing every part of us of, are you willing to show up? This is like bringing the people through the out of bondage, right? And I could talk about the stories of Job. I could talk about the stories of Moses. I mean, this is as big a point in history, inflection point of history, because this is the relinquishment of the evil, of the reins to the evil, and saying, okay, it's just okay to take it. It's not.
I know.
You gonna get rid of property tax?
I'd like to.
Yeah, that'd be the first thing I did. I'd sign an emergency order to get rid of property tax completely. And they'd say, you can't fund then you won't be able to fund education. And I was like, yeah, I can. I could just cut out the administration. And if I needed the administration in order to give a quality education, then homeschooled kids would not be as smart, as productive as they are. Right?
Competition is a very good thing for basically everything in life, society, and the natural world. Without competition, things stagnate and become cruddy. And if you don't believe me, go to the DMV.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good indication by itself.
Hold on.
So what's your first stop?
I'm literally doing a podcast right now. You need to text me if you want me to see it. Bye. Sorry.
I know it's about that time where you're having dinner and going through the things here. We're at the end of the road here, but what's your first stop? What's your first campaign stop? What's your, how do people?
My first railroad stop to connect with people?
Yeah.
Tiffin, Ohio. That's where I grew up. Small town. 18,000 people. Maybe that's not the tactically best spot. Maybe it's not the biggest one in Ohio, but I don't care because that's my people. And then we'll go from there.
How do people follow you? I mean, how do people give to you? Because I know how to, yeah.
Putsch for Ohio, spelled Putsch, forohio.com, or look up Casey Putsch. And you'll find that. Casey the Car Guy, I'm also known as on YouTube and whatnot. And hey, if you can't find me that quick, just look for the smoke or the fireworks in the air. There's probably something happening below it, or taking fire or flak.
The one thing that I tell people is that if you want it perfect, I'm not going to be perfect, but I am perfect for the people of Colorado, and I think you'll be perfect for the people of Ohio. Because the reality of it is that if you want to fight, you have to fight from the fire, not from the smoke. And all you get with Vivek is a bunch of smoke. And all you're going to get when you're actually solving problems is fire. It's going to get hot.
I'm a run toward the fire kind of guy.
Sign me up, Coach. Put me in. Put me in. Put me in.
Thanks for having me in today and letting me be feisty on your show.
I love it, brother. And I'll support you and I'll give you some cash. Tell everybody else, donate to Casey.
Yes, I'm not going to be Bernie Sanders, but I will say this. You have to donate. It is very important. I didn't magically get another $1 billion this year. I've been spending all my time helping out people, young people, and trying to build stuff. So we are literally in this together. So putschforohio.com. You can donate, and yes, it matters. Thank you.
Yeah, it absolutely matters.
Casey. I'm giggling because it matters a lot. It genuinely matters a lot. So
I'll let you know if I decide to run. I got 9 days left, and I got some time that I have to spend with my wife telling her what I'm doing, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, think about it. But for me, the pain of inaction just began to outweigh the extreme risk and pain of action.
I can now feel Trump's pain, though. I really can.
Tell me how.
Of the fact that I don't want this. Like, everything in me does not want to run, but everything in me is drawn towards the idea that I see so much bad stuff happening, and I don't see anybody. I look around and the competency is not there. And I look at the people suffering and I can see it. It's like seeing dead people. You can drive through the street and I'm like, that person is that person. And I can't stomach it. I cannot stomach it.
I know. I traded in any Casey the individual a day ago for Ohio together. So, best case scenario, regardless of the outcome, I'm just going to have to find fulfillment and enjoyment with everybody else doing something together.
Yeah, we'll do it. I look forward to being out there in Ohio and stumping for you. And
that'd be fun.
So
that'd be fun. Hey, we got to go shooting together sometime.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I can bring an arsenal. I can bring automatic weapons. I can bring whatever you want.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun. Yeah. All right, man. Thank you.
Take care. God bless you. One of my favorite people. I love having him on. I love having him on because of his authenticity, but also the fact that he's not doing this because he wants to or he has to. He's doing it because he knows that it is a requirement. It is his calling. It is the thing that I think needs to happen for not just Ohio and not just Colorado, but every state. There are, the idea of, Lord, send me. It's a big thing. It's a real thing. You know what else is a real thing? Dan Bongino just announced that he's leaving his position with the FBI in January. Let's go ahead and put this up if we can. We knew this was happening. This was long been expected. And this is why I said, I can't believe that Dan stayed this long, because he's not a guy that likes to take orders from people that are just not good. I'll be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, AG Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank my fellow Americans for the privilege to serve you. God bless America and all that defend her. Why is he leaving? Ask yourself the question of why he's leaving. And don't do the Q thing or anything else, but just understand why is he leaving. He's thanking people. I truly believe he wants to thank President Trump, but he saw the machine up front and personal. I've seen that machine up front and personal, and I'm telling you, it is a nasty, nasty, nasty machine. As nasty as you can get. And then Tucker on Judge Andrew Napolitano show. Is that Napolitano? Is that him? Yeah, his show. Tucker Carlson says a member of Congress told him President Trump tries to announce tonight that a war is coming. I heard this too. I got a couple of calls. It wasn't from Andrew, but I was told that a war is coming. And members were briefed yesterday that a war is coming and it'll be announced in the address tonight. I want you guys to understand something. We're already in a war. I also want you to understand something else that is very significant. When I told you that people are going to get arrested, people are going to get arrested. In times of war, there are things that can be done in those times of war. And to save this country, other people for bad things, indiscretions they've done against this country need to come to light. They need to be held accountable. But what also is going to happen is that those people, those secret cells we have within our country, they will be held accountable as well. In times of war, military tribunals will rule the day. I am both anxious and yet hopeful that we'll get through the wars of people in places like Venezuela, Serbia, the secret cells we have inside of the U.S., of things like roaming networks and what they're tied to other Serbians that own other things, such as transportation centers. That's a real thing. A war is coming. Make no mistake, a war is coming. And out of that war, out of that fire, we are going to be able to uncover some really uncomfortable things about our country and the people in it who have done horrible things to the American people. Horrible. My wife asked me again this morning. She said, "What's wrong?" And I didn't have the stomach to tell her. Not about running for governor, but that I know that this will be the last Christmas. This will be the last holiday where we don't have more strife. 2026 is going to be, a difficult year. Sacrifices will be made. People will have to choose sides. And what happens in 2026 either defines us as a nation and we right the wrongs that have gone on for 20, 30, 40 years by people who are traitors to our nation. They are seditious, treasonous traitors. And would I include the leadership of Colorado in that? I would. They were selected, not elected. But if you go back 10, 20 years, that's been what we've gotten at every level. They've chosen who runs things in every place. They're traitors. They're seditious traitors. And we have to find a way as Americans to stand together and to do right by that 40% that is diseased and rotted because they betrayed those people first. So let's go ahead and pray it out if we can. That's all you can do is pray at this point and get in the battle and make sure that we do right by the people that is your brothers and sisters, your neighbors to the left, your neighbors to the right. And I hope that's what this accomplishes. All right, so let's pray. Father God, there's so much that we want to say. There's so much we want to do. There's so much that we want to be able to just put before you. But we need to thank you, Father, for the gifts that you've given us, for the time that we have here. No matter how long or how short it is, Father, we know that it is your plan and your path. And we are prepared to serve you, Father. We also recognize that a certain amount of our mission in life should be to restoration, restoring you to the very ethos of what our society means, what our country means, what our world means. And we know there are people that are marching us down a really bad path. So, Father, we just ask you to give us the strength to fight through it, to be ambassadors of truth, to speak truth, to spread truth, but to do so unapologetically against people who are demonic like this Kyle Clark. I won't apologize for calling him that because, frankly, that's what he is. Father, we just ask that you give us the strength to keep fighting, that you bless President Trump and you bless the things going forward, and that you reveal anyone that's doing things for reasons that would work against the interest of your people. Ask you to bless Casey as he goes out and pursues becoming the governor of Ohio. I bless him with the strength to fight through adversity and to go up against the Goliath of the position as governor of that state. There's a lot of people suffering in Ohio as well. So, Father, I just ask you can lift the burden off their shoulders and that some relief can be met. I ask these things, Father, humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. I want to play this for you if I can. This is the video of Tucker Carlson, and then I'll come back and say goodbye.
Is Trump going to start a war in Venezuela?
I don't know. I don't know when this program airs, the one that we're on right now. This thing's maybe live.
No, we're live now, and then it'll be posted immediately. So
So my sense is, I don't know the answer. I've certainly been on the phone a lot about it. I have no power. I'm a podcaster, but I'm very interested. And so here's what I know so far, which is that members of Congress were briefed yesterday that a war is coming, and it'll be announced in the address to the nation tonight at 9:00 by the president. Who knows, by the way, if that will actually happen? I don't know. And I never want to overstate what I know, which is pretty limited in general.
A war is coming. Imagine that a war is coming. And it is our job to fight through that war. We are Americans. Buy guns, buy ammo, buy gold, buy silver. Support your family. Make sure you have extra food. Make sure that you're doing things to protect yourself. And by all means, never negotiate with the ridiculous. Do not debate it. And do not put yourself in a position where you have to be a slave underneath it. So God bless you all. We're on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. Go over there, give us a 5-star review. Check us out on Rumble if you like it. Go ahead and share it. You're the ambassadors of truth. You get to decide how we grow, where we grow. Obviously, the walled gardens are going to do everything they can to take that away from me, take it away from you, and to stop truth from being told. So do your part. I'll do mine. I'll show up here every day, 5 days a week, and I'll talk to you. And sometimes you're going to agree with me. Sometimes you'll disagree with me. And sometimes, if not all the time, I guarantee you I will come back to you and we can have a discussion about it. I am not the arbiter of all reality, although I am right quite often. And as Jeff would tell you, he has the ability to talk to me. I do talk back. Mod, it says, trust the plan, not Q's, but God's. Mod Trend, you're right. Absolutely. I can't handle a year harder than 2025 has been. Chris, describe harder for me. Harder is not a real word. Also, Eric Allen over there on Pilled. I'll bring this up before. This is an article by Andrew Torba over on Gab. Guys, I put it in the comments. Come back tomorrow. I'll go over this thing about Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy is 100% someone that was manufactured. Bad guy. Bad guy. I hope you guys are doing what needs to be done in your life to make sure that you stay connected to the people around you. But more importantly, find your tribe. I found mine. You're a part of it. All right. God bless you. We'll see you soon.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back. back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Tame nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong.